All right, Nick, let's talk about the Ohio State Buckeyes. Spring ball is in full effect. We are in the thick of it. And more we get into this, spring training camp, Nick, spring practice, whatever you want to call it. There are a couple guys on this Ohio State team that are really starting to stand out and maybe, potentially putting themselves in position to have a huge breakout year, Nick. And I think this is something that Ohio State fans can really get excited about.
Yeah, Miles, I think it was a very interesting report you dug up, and I agree Ohio State fans will be excited about that. But as always, we want to first hear from Ohio State fans in the comment section below. Look, as spring ball is wrapping up, you're seeing a lot of these great young players come out and make the name for themselves. And we want to hear from you guys what Buckeye you think so far through spring and really through all the practices up to this point has really made the biggest impact in your minds, the guy who's really made the biggest leap as you're looking forward to 2023. Give us that one Buckeye who's had one heck of a spring ball in the comment section below. All right, Miles, what you got? What's the latest out of Columbus?
Yeah, Nick. So there's a lot of guys that are doing really great, and Buckeyes have a lot of talent as well. We go today to look at the receiver room, Nick. Obviously, we know who their number one receiver is. There's no question. Marvin Harrison Jr. is the guy. But there's a couple other guys that may be sneaking up the depth chart to have a breakout season, Nick. And I'm going to get into the article here in just a second. It says, we're just over halfway through spring practice, and there have been some notable developments for the Ohio State football team. The Buckeyes are still in the midst of a quarterback battle, and they need to lock down some starters on the offensive line, but there are a few players in different spots who have stood out this spring. And number one, Nick, you've heard this a lot by now, but Ballard, meaning Jaden Ballard, has been the most impressive non-starting offensive player this spring. Ballard was buried under the depth chart last season. Didn't get a whole lot of looks, only 8 catches for 155 yards and a touchdown. But with the injuries to Emeka Egbuka and Julian Fleming, Ballard has really had a lot of reps in spring ball so far, and he has kind of flashed for a lot of people on this team, and they're starting to notice. We all know he had the elite speed, but his hands have been what have been impressive so far in the spring season, Nick, and none other than Marvin Harrison Jr. himself commented on this. He said his ball skills are phenomenal. He rarely drops a ball. He's so naturally gifted in that area. He can be so special. So, Nick, I think this has been really, really interesting to hear. I love it when a guy, takes advantage of injuries of guys in front of him and really comes out and starts to shine. And that's Jaden Ballard. And the other guy that has really started to come out is another wide receiver as well, Nick, Carnell Tate. He has been very interesting. A top 60 recruit, came to Ohio State this year, a 6'2" freshman. So he has come out there, and with the extra reps he's gotten because of injuries on this depth chart, he has looked very, very good as well. So these are two young guys, Nick, a freshman and a sophomore, who've really kind of started to stand out, and it makes you feel good about the future of this team. What do you think about these two standouts so far, Nick?
So I love what Ballard's doing, because anytime you have a new quarterback and a guy who's going to be inexperienced, there's obviously going to be some issues in terms of, whether it's accuracy or reading a defense. He's going to force the ball up in some tight situations. That just happens. With any quarterback, any young guy doesn't have a lot of experience. That's just the nature of the beast. That's how it happens. So what do you want in that situation? You want a guy who fights for the football. You want a guy who has the ball skills in the hands to hold on to those catches and win those 50-50 footballs. In fact, turn them into 90-10 balls in your favor. And that's exactly the kind of the kind of guy Ballard has shown himself to be. And I think that'll be critical for Ohio State, at least in the early parts of the season, right? As they try and figure out whoever the quarterback is, get him up to a rhythm, get everything rolling in that direction. And obviously, as you go look even in beyond the season, as you get into the Michigan matchup, potentially a Big Ten championship game, and maybe the college football playoff, you need as many big time playmakers as you can get in order to go with the Alabamas, frankly, the Michigans, and of course the Georgias. As Ohio State proved last season in the playoff, you need a lot of playmakers. I think a lot of people agree if Harrison doesn't get that hit to his head and stay in the game, Ohio State probably wins that football game, just because Ohio State had the horses to outgun Georgia's defense. They had the ability to use their playmakers to out-leverage Georgia's famously good defense. That's exactly the same formula Ohio State can follow to win a national championship this coming season and seasons to follow. They just need to keep developing these young playmakers and bringing them into the fold. And so far, it looks like they're doing just that. So once again, credit to Hartline, who may be the best wide receivers coach in the country. It may not even be close for what he's doing at Ohio State, because his guys are just unbelievable.